The school hallway was bustling with activity as students moved between classes, chatting and laughing. Felipe walked with a sense of purpose, his mind focused on his future plans and the excitement of his growing relationship with Emily. But as he turned a corner, he saw a scene that made his heart sink. A group of boys had cornered Lucas, the freshman he had befriended weeks earlier. They were jeering and taunting him, pushing him against the lockers. Lucas looked terrified, his eyes darting around for help. Felipe felt a surge of anger and determination. He couldn't stand by and watch someone be bullied. "Hey, what's going on here?" Felipe called out, his voice steady and authoritative. The bullies turned to face him, sneers on their faces. "None of your business, Felipe." Mark, the leader of the group, spat back. "Why don't you walk away?" Felipe stood his ground, his gaze unwavering. "Leave him alone, Mark. This ends now." Mark stepped closer, trying to intimidate him. "And what are you gonna do about it?" Felipe didn't flinch. "I'll do whatever it takes to stop this. Bullying isn't cool and you know it. We're better than this." There was a tense moment of silence, but Felipe didn't back down. Finally, Mark muttered something under his breath and signaled for his friends to back off. "Whatever, man. Let's go," he said, turning away. As the bullies walked off, Felipe turned to Lucas, who was visibly shaken. "You okay?" he asked gently. Lucas nodded, his eyes wide with gratitude. "Thanks, Felipe. I didn't know what to do." "You're not alone, Lucas. If anyone gives you trouble, you come find me, okay?" Felipe said, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Lucas managed a small smile. "Okay, thanks." Later that day, Felipe found himself reflecting on the incident. He remembered his own insecurities and fears from his teenage years, and how much it would have meant to have someone stand up for him. He knew that bullying was just one of the many challenges students faced, and he wanted to do more to help. That afternoon, he sought out Ms. Johnson, the school's guidance counselor. Her office was a haven of calm amidst the chaos of high school, filled with soothing colors and comfortable chairs. She looked up from her desk and smiled as he entered. "Felipe, what can I do for you today?" she asked warmly. "I wanted to talk to you about something important," Felipe began, taking a seat. "I've seen a lot of bullying around school, and I think we need to do more to address it. I want to help." Ms. Johnson's eyes softened with appreciation. "I'm glad you came to me, Felipe. Bullying is a serious issue, and we can always use more allies in the fight against it. Do you have any ideas?" Felipe nodded. "I was thinking we could start a peer support group, a place where students can talk about their experiences, support each other, and come up with ways to promote kindness and respect in our school. Maybe even organize events and workshops to raise awareness." "That's a wonderful idea," Ms. Johnson said, her face lighting up. "I think it could make a real difference. Why don't we work together to get it started?" They spent the next hour brainstorming and planning. Felipe felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that he was taking concrete steps to make a positive impact. They decided to hold the first meeting the following week and began spreading the word. On the day of the meeting, Felipe walked into the designated classroom, unsure of how many students would show up. To his surprise and relief, the room gradually filled with a diverse group of students, all eager to be part of the solution. Among them were Lucas, Kevin, and even some of the younger students who looked up to Felipe as a role model. Ms. Johnson opened the meeting with a few words about the importance of creating a safe and inclusive environment. Then, she handed the floor over to Felipe. He stood up, feeling a mix of nerves and determination. "Thank you all for being here," he began, looking around the room. "We're here because we believe that everyone deserves to feel safe and respected at school. Bullying has no place here, and together we can change the culture. This is a space where we can share our experiences, support each other, and come up with ways to make our school a better place for everyone." As the meeting progressed, students shared their stories and ideas. There were moments of vulnerability and strength, as well as a growing sense of solidarity. By the end, they had a list of actionable steps and a plan to meet regularly. Walking out of the meeting, Felipe felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew that real change wouldn't happen overnight, but they had taken the first step. With the support of his peers and the guidance of Ms. Johnson, he was confident that they could create a school environment where everyone felt valued and safe. That evening, as he sat with Emily at their favorite spot in the park, he shared his experiences from the day. She listened intently, her eyes filled with admiration. "I'm so proud of you, Felipe," she said, squeezing his hand. "You're making a real difference." Felipe smiled, feeling the warmth of her support. "It's just the beginning, Emily. There's so much more we can do." As the stars twinkled above, Felipe felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. This journey was about more than just his second chance. It was about making the most of every moment, helping others, and building a future filled with kindness, respect, and love. One evening, as the golden hues of sunset bathed the town, Felipe found himself nervously pacing his room. He had been carrying the weight of his secret for weeks, and the time had come to tell Emily the truth. The thought of revealing his transformation was daunting, but he knew it was essential for their relationship to grow deeper. He took a deep breath and grabbed his phone. "Hey, Emily, can we meet at the park? There's something important I need to talk to you about," he texted, his fingers trembling slightly. Within moments, her response came, "Sure, Felipe. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Felipe made his way to their favorite spot in the park, a quiet bench under an old oak tree. As he waited, he rehearsed what he was going to say, hoping she would understand. The gentle rustle of leaves and the distant chirping of birds provided a serene backdrop, but it did little to calm his racing heart. Emily arrived, her presence bringing a sense of calm and warmth. She sat down beside him, her eyes filled with curiosity and concern. "What's going on, Felipe? You seem really serious." He took her hand, his grip firm but gentle. "Emily, there's something I need to tell you. It's going to sound unbelievable, but I need you to trust me." She nodded, her expression softening. "You can tell me anything." Taking a deep breath, Felipe began. "Emily, I'm not who you think I am. I'm Felipe, but I'm also someone else, someone older. My real name is Luke, and I'm 36 years old. Somehow, I've been given a second chance at life, transformed back into my 18-year-old self, but with all my memories and experiences intact." Emily's eyes widened, a mix of shock and confusion crossing her face. "What, Felipe? Are you serious? This sounds impossible." "I know it does," he said quickly, squeezing her hand. "But it's the truth. I can remember our life together, our marriage, our children, everything. I was given this chance to correct my mistakes and make things right, to rediscover what truly matters." For a moment, Emily was silent, her mind racing to process what she had just heard. She pulled her hand away, looking down at the ground. "This is a lot to take in, Felipe. Or Luke, I don't even know what to call you." "Call me Felipe," he said gently. "I know it's hard to believe, but I'm telling you this because I love you. I want us to have a future together, built on honesty and trust." She looked up at him, her eyes searching his for any sign of deceit. What she found instead was sincerity and a deep, abiding love. Slowly, she nodded. "Okay, Felipe, I believe you. It's crazy, but I believe you." Relief washed over him, and he pulled her into a tight embrace. "Thank you, Emily. I promise I'll explain everything, answer any questions you have. I just couldn't keep this from you any longer." As they sat together, Felipe recounted the story of his transformation, the struggles he had faced in his old life, and the determination he felt to make the most of this second chance. Emily listened intently, her initial shock giving way to a profound understanding. "You've been through so much," she said softly, "and now we're here together. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm willing to face it with you." Tears welled up in Felipe's eyes, and he smiled through the emotion. "I couldn't ask for anything more." They spent the rest of the evening talking, sharing dreams and hopes for the future. Felipe felt a renewed sense of purpose and clarity, knowing that he could face any challenge with Emily by his side. As the stars began to twinkle above them, they walked hand in hand, ready to embrace whatever came next. This was more than a second chance. It was the beginning of a new journey, filled with love, understanding, and endless possibilities. The days following Felipe's revelation to Emily were filled with a mixture of relief and excitement. The weight of his secret had been lifted, and for the first time, he felt truly free to pursue his second chance at life. Emily, now fully aware of his extraordinary circumstances, was more supportive than ever. They spent countless hours talking about their past, their present, and the possibilities for their future. One Saturday morning, as the autumn leaves painted the town in shades of gold and crimson, Felipe decided to take Emily on a special date. He wanted to recreate one of their most cherished memories, hoping to rekindle the romance that had once flourished between them. "We're something comfortable," he told her over the phone, a hint of excitement in his voice. "I have a surprise for you." When he picked her up, Emily's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "What are you up to, Felipe?" "You'll see," he replied with a mischievous grin. They drove out of town, the familiar landscape giving way to open fields and wooded areas. Felipe pulled over at a secluded spot where a narrow trail led into the forest. "Do you remember this place?" he asked, a hint of nostalgia in his voice. Emily's eyes widened with recognition. "Is this the same trail we hiked on our first anniversary?" Felipe nodded, his smile widening. "I thought it would be nice to revisit it. Come on." Hand in hand, they followed the winding path, their steps crunching on the fallen leaves. The air was crisp and fresh, filled with the earthy scent of the forest. They walked in comfortable silence for a while, each lost in their thoughts and memories. As they reached the top of a small hill, Felipe led Emily to a clearing that overlooked a sparkling lake. The view was breathtaking, just as it had been years ago. He had brought a blanket and a picnic basket, which he spread out on the grass. "You really thought of everything," Emily said, touched by his effort. "I wanted today to be perfect," Felipe replied, his eyes shining with affection. They sat down and enjoyed the simple meal, talking and laughing as they shared stories from their past and dreams for their future. After lunch, they took a leisurely stroll stroll around the lake, the gentle breeze ruffling their hair. Felipe felt a deep sense of contentment, knowing that this was where he was meant to be with Emily in this moment. He stopped and turned to face her, taking both her hands in his. "Emily, I know things haven't always been easy between us," he began, his voice sincere, "but I've been given this incredible second chance, and I want to make the most of it. I want to build a future with you, filled with love, understanding, and all the happiness we can find." Emily looked into his eyes, her expression softening with love and trust. "I want that too, Felipe. I believe in us, and I believe in you." He leaned in, their foreheads touching, and whispered, "I love you, Emily, more than words can say." "I love you too," she replied, her voice filled with emotion. They kissed, a tender and heartfelt moment that seemed to seal their commitment to each other. As they pulled away, Felipe felt a renewed sense of purpose and hope. This second chance wasn't just about correcting past mistakes. It was about creating new memories, new dreams, and a future they could cherish together. The sun began to set, casting a warm, golden glow over the landscape. They sat down by the lake, wrapped in each other's arms, watching the sky change colors. The world felt right, as if everything had fallen into place. As the stars began to twinkle above, Felipe knew that this was just the beginning of their new journey. With Emily by his side, he felt ready to face whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. They had been given a second chance at love, and he was determined to make every moment count. The gymnasium was filled with an electric atmosphere as students, teachers, and parents packed the bleachers for the biggest basketball game of the season. Felipe stood with his teammates in the locker room, the tension palpable. This game would determine their place in the playoffs, and everyone knew the stakes were high. Coach Harris paced in front of the team, his expression serious but encouraging. "All right, boys, this is it. We've worked hard all season for this moment. I believe in each and every one of you. Play with heart, play smart, and support each other out there. We can do this." Felipe felt a surge of determination as he looked around at his teammates. They had become like family to him, and he wanted nothing more than to see them succeed. "Let's go out there and give it everything we've got," he said, his voice steady and strong. "Leave it all on the court." The team cheered, their spirits lifted by Felipe's words. They exited the locker room and entered the gym, greeted by the deafening roar of the crowd. Felipe's heart pounded with excitement and nerves as he took his place on the court. The game began with an intensity that matched the importance of the occasion. The opposing team was tough, but Felipe's team matched them move for move. Felipe played with a combination of skill and heart, driving to the basket, making precise passes, and defending fiercely. Every point was hard-earned, and the score remained close throughout the first half. During a timeout, Felipe stood with his hands on his knees, catching his breath. Coach Harris gathered the team around, his voice steady and calm. "You're doing great out there. Keep up the intensity, and don't let up. Remember, we play as a team." As the second half began, the stakes felt even higher. The opposing team came out with renewed energy, and the game grew more physical. Felipe took a hard hit as he drove to the basket, but he shook it off, determined not to let it affect him. He knew his team needed him to be strong. With only a few minutes left on the clock, the score was tied. The tension in the gym was almost unbearable. Felipe could feel the weight of the moment, but he also felt a deep sense of confidence. This was what he had trained for, what he had dreamed of. As the clock ticked down, Felipe found himself with the ball at the top of the key. He dribbled, eyeing the defense, searching for an opening. With a swift crossover, he broke past his defender and drove to the basket. He could hear the crowd's roar in his ears as he leapt into the air, releasing the ball just as he was fouled hard. Time seemed to slow as the ball arced towards the basket. It hit the backboard and bounced around the rim before finally dropping through the net. The gym exploded in cheers, but Felipe's focus remained unbroken. He still had to make the free throw to secure the lead. He stepped to the line, the noise of the crowd fading into the background. He took a deep breath, focused on the basket, and released the shot. The ball sailed through the air and swished cleanly through the net. The gym erupted once again, and Felipe was mobbed by his teammates. With only seconds left, the opposing team had one last chance to tie the game. Felipe and his teammates dug in, determined to hold their ground. The opposing team's star player drove to the basket, but Felipe was there to meet him, blocking the shot cleanly. The ball bounced into Kevin's hands, and the final buzzer sounded. They had won. The gym erupted into chaos as fans poured onto the court, cheering and celebrating. Felipe was lifted onto his teammates' shoulders, his heart soaring with joy and relief. This victory wasn't just about the game. It was a testament to their hard work, dedication, and unity as a team. Coach Harris found Felipe in the midst of the celebration, a proud smile on his face. Great job out there, Felipe. You led this team to victory. Felipe smiled back, his heart full. Thanks, coach. It was a team effort. As the celebrations continued, Felipe felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This was a moment he would cherish forever, a symbol of what they could achieve together. He looked around at his teammates, their faces glowing with happiness, and knew that this was just the beginning. Later that night, as he sat with Emily in the quiet of the park, Felipe reflected on the journey that had brought him to this moment. He had been given a second chance at life, and he was determined to make the most of it. With the love and support of Emily and his friends, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The stars above twinkled brightly, mirroring the hope and determination in his heart. This was his time, and he was ready to embrace it with everything he had. The victory in the basketball game had given Felipe a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. As the weeks went by, he continued to excel both on the court and in the classroom, but his thoughts often drifted to the future. He knew that his time in high school was limited and that he needed to start planning for what came next. One crisp autumn afternoon, Felipe and Emily decided to visit a nearby college campus. It was one of the schools Felipe had been considering, known for its strong academic programs and competitive basketball team. As they walked hand in hand through the picturesque campus, Felipe felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Isn't this place beautiful?" Emily said, her eyes wide with wonder. "I can really see us here, can't you?" Felipe nodded, smiling. "Yeah, it's amazing. It feels like a place where we could both grow and thrive." They attended an information session, listened to professors talk about the various programs, and even sat in on a basketball practice. Felipe's heart raced as he watched the college players, imagining himself on the court, contributing to the team. He felt a deep connection to this place, a sense that it could be his new home. After the tour, they sat down on a bench overlooking the campus quad. "I can see you playing here, Felipe," Emily said, her voice filled with pride. "You'd be incredible. And I can see you excelling here too, Emily," Felipe replied, taking her hand. "Pursuing your dreams, making a difference. We can do this together." They spent the rest of the afternoon discussing their plans, their hopes, and their fears. Felipe felt a deep sense of gratitude for Emily's unwavering support and love. She had become his rock, the person he could always rely on. Back at school, Felipe continued to meet with Mr. Reynolds, the school counselor. They discussed college applications, scholarships, and the challenges of balancing academics and athletics. Felipe was determined to make the most of his second chance, to pursue his dreams with passion and dedication. One day, after a particularly intense practice, Coach Harris called Felipe into his office. "Sit down, Felipe," he said, his tone serious but kind. "I wanted to talk to you about your future." Felipe sat down, his curiosity piqued. "What's on your mind, Coach?" "I've been really impressed with your performance this season," Coach Harris began. "Not just your skills, but your leadership and your dedication. I've had some college scouts ask about you, and I think you have a real shot at playing at the next level." Felipe's heart skipped a beat. "Really? That's amazing, Coach. Thank you. But it's not just about basketball," Coach Harris continued. "You're a smart kid, Felipe. You've got a lot of potential off the court as well. I want you to remember that. Don't lose sight of your academics and your personal growth." "I won't, Coach. I promise," Felipe replied, feeling a deep sense of responsibility. As the days turned into weeks, Felipe and Emily continued to work on their college applications, balancing their studies, sports, and social lives. They attended college fairs, wrote essays, and gathered recommendations. It was a challenging and stressful time, but they supported each other through every step. One evening, as they sat together in the library, Felipe looked over at Emily, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the desk lamp. "Emily, I'm really excited about the future, but I'm also scared. What if things don't go as planned?" Emily reached out and took his hand, her touch reassuring. "We'll face it together, Felipe. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out. We've already been through so much, and we've come out stronger. This is just another chapter in our story." Felipe smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude and love. "You're right. We've got this." As the application deadlines approached, Felipe and Emily submitted their materials, hopeful and anxious. They knew that the future was uncertain, but they were ready to embrace whatever came their way. One crisp morning, as Felipe checked his email, he saw a message from the admissions office of the college they had visited. His heart pounded as he opened it, his eyes scanning the words. "Dear Felipe Evans, congratulations. We are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted to our university with a scholarship to play on our basketball team. We believe you will be a valuable addition to our community, both on and off the court." Felipe's heart soared. He had done it. He looked over at Emily, who was reading a similar email with a look of joy and disbelief on her face. "I got in too," she exclaimed, tears of happiness streaming down her cheeks. They embraced, overwhelmed with emotion. This was the beginning of a new chapter, a new adventure. They had faced countless challenges and uncertainties, but they had done it together. As they celebrated their acceptance, Felipe felt a deep sense of fulfillment and excitement for the future. He knew that there would be more obstacles to overcome, more dreams to pursue, but he was ready. With Emily by his side and a clear vision for his future, Felipe was prepared to take on the world and make the most of his second chance. The day had finally arrived. Graduation caps and gowns, adorned in the school colors, were scattered throughout the gymnasium as students gathered with their families and friends. The air was thick with excitement and nostalgia, the culmination of years of hard work and unforgettable memories. Felipe stood among his classmates, feeling a mix of pride and anticipation. He had come so far since that fateful night when his life had been transformed. As he looked around at the familiar faces, he saw not just friends, but individuals who had each played a part in his journey. Emily was beside him, her eyes sparkling with happiness. They exchanged a smile, a silent understanding of the journey they had shared and the future they were about to embark on. The principal took the stage, beginning the ceremony with a heartfelt speech about growth, perseverance, and the bright futures awaiting the graduates. One by one, students walked across the stage, receiving their diplomas to the sound of applause and cheers from the audience. When Felipe's name was called, he walked across the stage with a confident stride, shaking the principal's hand and accepting his diploma. As he turned to face the crowd, he spotted his parents, beaming with pride. He also saw Coach Harris, Mr. Reynolds, and his teammates, all cheering him on. In that moment, Felipe felt a profound sense of gratitude for everyone who had supported him along the way. After the ceremony, Felipe and Emily found a quiet spot in the park, the same bench under the old oak tree where so many significant moments had taken place. They sat down, taking a moment to reflect on everything they had achieved and everything that lay ahead. "Can you believe we made it?" Emily said, her voice filled with wonder. "We're really graduating. It feels surreal," Felipe replied, his gaze sweeping over the familiar surroundings. "But we did it, together." Emily nodded, a smile playing on her lips. "I'm so excited for what's next, Felipe. College, new experiences, new challenges. It's all so exciting. And a little scary," Felipe admitted. "But I know we can handle it. We've already proven that." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, simply enjoying the moment. The park was alive with the sounds of birds singing and leaves rustling in the breeze. It was a perfect day, filled with promise and potential. Felipe thought about the journey that had brought him here, the transformation, the challenges, the friendships, and the love he had rekindled with Emily. He realized that this second chance at life wasn't just about correcting past mistakes. It was about embracing every moment, learning from every experience, and growing into the person he was meant to be. "Emily," he said softly, turning to face her, "I know we've talked about our plans and dreams, but I want you to know that whatever happens, wherever life takes us, I'm grateful for every moment we've had together. You've changed my life in ways I can't even begin to describe." Emily's eyes filled with emotion as she took his hand. "And you've changed mine, Felipe. I can't imagine my life without you. We're in this together, no matter what." They kissed, sealing their commitment to each other and their future. As they pulled away, Felipe felt a sense of peace and certainty. He knew there would be challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them with Emily by his side. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the park, they stood up and walked hand in hand towards the future. Graduation was not just an ending, but a new beginning, a chance to explore new opportunities, create new memories, and continue growing together. Felipe looked at Emily, her face radiant with happiness, and felt a surge of determination and hope. This was their time, their story, and with every step they took, they were writing the next chapter of their lives, filled with endless possibilities and boundless love.